It's another Raw video from your boy Draft Raw Authentic. Yes, I am here, and like I said, it's a Raw video, so there will be no edits. Anyway, if you can tell by the title, this is going to be about the tight end prospects of the 2018 NFL Draft. Oh yes, let's get into it. Now on my list, there's about 6 names. There's a 7th person on the list, but I'm not sure about this player because there's not a lot of production in college when it comes to him. So I'm going to name him real quick. His name is Dalton Schultz from Stanford. This guy, they have him play him on the line. They have him split out a little bit, sometimes playing in the backfield. He seems like a move-it, gadget type of tight end. He's got the size of a tight end, but they don't use him as a traditional tight end all the time. And a lot, when he runs his routes, he runs about 5 or 10 yards out, and then he stops and turns around. There's not a lot of routes that he does. There's not a lot of extra athletic type of stuff that he does on the field. So he just seems like a regular tight end. But the simple fact that he is a guy that's kind of really known in the scouting community for the tight end prospects in this draft, I just wanted to at least say his name. Just give him a little shout out, I guess. You know, whatever. But anyway, let's get into my real list. Now, when I do my list of when it comes to these prospects, there's no rankings, so I just going to name some names. If you haven't seen a video of me, there's no rankings. I don't do that type of stuff. I say what the media scouts say. I don't say what I actually think until the draft actually happens. So if I see a prospect that's first round for what the media say, and I may not think about, I may not think of that person being that, I'm not going to do that. I don't do that ranking stuff. I just go and I just name the players and I just tell you what I think about them. And obviously, if I don't like them, then they shouldn't be a first round prospect. Point blank, period. So anyway, sorry for holding y'all up. Let's really get into the list. First name on the list, 6'4", 250 pounds from South Carolina, Hayden Hurst. Now, looking at my notes here, Hayden Hurst is a high upside, but there's more to be desired from him. Route running is a question, and most people have him as the best tight end in this draft class. Now, what I liked about Hayden Hurst, what I saw from him on tape, is that he was a guy that just naturally went up the seams to catch footballs. Always. Most of his routes is up the seam. That's just pretty much in the tight end position or in the slot position, which will be not on the boundary of where a receiver will be, but between where a receiver would be and the offensive tackle. As a stand-up slot receiver, he would just run straight up the middle. That is what a seam is, for people who don't know that. He just seemed like he just ran those routes a lot. Now, obviously he did other things at South Carolina, but that was his best thing that he did do. Now, what I also like about him is he has pretty underrated speed. From what he ran at the combine in the 40-yard dash as a 4.67 is a pretty good time. It's not a great time. It's an average time, but it's a pretty good time just to tell you that, hey, this guy has some speed and has some athleticism. Now, honestly, the way he runs and what I've seen, he seems like he's a little bit faster on the football field than what that time speed was. Like I said, other media people have him as the best tight end. I wouldn't say he's the best tight end. I would just say he's probably the best receiving tight end in terms of a guy that's played in a pro-style offense that he's not really a blocker, but he brings the receiving aspect of what you want from a tight end. So if you're looking for a playmaker, guys like Evan Ingram that plays for the New York Giants, or guys like Delaney Walker that does a lot of catching and stuff, and Travis Kelce, who does a lot of catching for the Kansas City Chiefs, not too much blocking, but just a lot. Or Zach Ertz is probably the best example of the Philadelphia Eagles tight end who scored a touchdown in the Super Bowl. He does a lot of that type of stuff. So that's what you're going to get from Hayden, which I can see why he'd be the best tight end, but I wouldn't call him the best tight end. But I would definitely say he's good. And if someone get him, they're getting a good player. Second name on the list, we're going to roll right into it. Mark Andrews from Oklahoma. 6'5", 250 pounds, the most athletic tight end in this draft class. He's honestly so athletic that he kind of should be a receiver. He also ran a 4.67 at the combine. The thing that I question with him is that the blocking. I'm not sure if he's a blocker. And honestly, Hayden Hurst is probably a better blocker than he is. When he played at Oklahoma with Baker Mayfield, he was put in positions to not play a traditional tight end on the line with his hand on the ground. He did play a lot of slot. At least I know with Hayden Hurst, he did play with his hand on the ground. Not always, but he did play it quite a bit. Now, with Mark Andrews, the biggest questions about him at why I'm not going to put him as the best if someone else puts him as the best. I actually did have him as the best before I really started to put the deep study into him, and I saw some things I didn't like. One thing that I saw was I don't like calling players soft, but I didn't see that extra drive, that extra, that aggression that you like to see from a guy that's that big. I just didn't see it, and it concerns me a little bit. Another thing that's concerned me is the drops that he's had. So he seems like a tall, athletic, tight end that should be a receiver, honestly, but he's too big to be a receiver, so he plays tight end, but he's a guy that has dropped a couple of passes that he should have caught, and he doesn't seem as aggressive as he should be, which will be another thing about the blocking issue. But when it comes down to it, the question mark I have for him is that, is he Ed Dickson? People who don't know who Ed Dickson is, he's a guy that played for the Ravens and the Panthers. I heard he just signed another deal for another team. I'm not sure what that team is. But Ed Dickson is a guy that had a lot of hype coming out of college. And he got drafted in the third round, which was pretty good for a tight end. But when he came into the league, he just wasn't that good. And he was kind of soft too. And me being a Baltimore Ravens fan, myself, I can say that, yes, he wasn't as good of a tight end as he probably should have been. But anyway, that's who Mark Andrews is, and that's what I have there. Second name on the list, Mike Gesicki, 6'6", 260 pounds, from Penn State. Now, this guy blew up the combine. And honestly, I actually have him as the best tight end in this class before the 4.55 40-yard dash. The guy is an all-around tight end. I've seen him block a little bit. I've seen him the way he catches the ball, which is very aggressive. If you saw my receiver video, I talked about snatching the ball out the air and not letting the quarterback dictate where the ball goes. You dictate how you're going to catch that ball. And that's one of the traits for, as a receiver, is huge for me. And for a tight end, that's huge for me too. And Mike Gesicki does that. He can, like I said, he can block, he can catch, he's got the speed, he's got the athleticism, he's got everything that you want in a tight end. The only question would be is the route running skills. Now, but when I look at it, a lot of tight ends, when they come into the league, they're not great route runners anyway. So the question would be, how good is his route running? And from the other two names that I've named, Mark Andrews is probably the better route runner between all of them. But obviously there's questions about him. But to me, a tight end doesn't need to have great route running to be a great tight end. I look at a guy like Rob Gronkowski. Yeah, he's actually a solid route runner. I give him credit for that. But when you look at a lot of his big plays and a lot of his route, he doesn't run. It ain't like he doesn't have to do that stuff. He wins by using his big body and his speed. So honestly, when I look at a guy like a Mike Gesicki, I see a guy that I won't say could be the next Gronkowski, but I see a guy that can just be one of the next best tight ends in the NFL. So anyway, let's get on to the next name on the list. Dallas Goedert from South Dakota State. He is 6'7", 260 pounds. And this guy has the highest ceiling out of everybody. He is a receiving machine. But the question is, was it because of the system in college? Was it because of where he played. He didn't play against the greatest competition playing at South Dakota State. So you wonder if with him, was it because of that? But Goddard honestly would be the quintessential like best tight end in this draft if it wasn't for the school that he went to. Now I don't discriminate against small schools, but his school is like a really, really small one, and it's you wonder how fast he is. You wonder all the rest of that stuff. He didn't run in the 40-yard dash, so we don't know if there's a time speed with him. But what you see on tape is is just the most athletic catches you're going to see. You're just going to see a bunch of highlights. And it's crazy that he's a natural highlight reel. I don't have to watch a highlight reel or video to see what he can do. I can watch a game and literally see a highlight reel. One-handed catches, the speed down the field, the running past guys. I mean, this dude does it all except for blocking. Now, like Mark Andrews, he's like a receiver / tight end type of dude, but he has the build and the size of a tight end. That's what makes him so great. He does remind me a little bit of a Rob Gronkowski because of the size and because of the highlight reel catches. But we'll see when he gets into the league. He's a guy that, like I said, because he's from a small school, he has to be able to separate and still be able to make the plays. Now, for a tight end from small schools, it should still kind of translate, but you're still going to have to question it a bit. But anyway, let's get to the next name on the list. Adam Brennerman. Now, I'm sorry, I wrote it a little bit weird on his name. But Adam Brennerman, I believe he went to Massachusetts. There was only one tape that I could watch of him, and then I watched the highlight tape. But what I saw was the best small school receiving tight end. Not to say he was better than Goddard, but this guy, the route running, the catching ability, this guy has the best chance of being one of those late round tight ends or late round players to really becoming a huge player in the league. I think he's underrated, and I think that people are going to be surprised. Like, look, your team, they call his name, and you're going to be like, what? Really? Him? From Massachusetts? Like, come on. But then when you see him play, you're going to be like, whoa, this guy has some skills. Watch out for that name, Adam Brennerman from Massachusetts. From what mock drafts are saying, he's probably like a 5th-round prospect. Maybe he jumps into the 4th. Who knows? But that's a name to watch. Watch out for that. And the last name on the list is Troy Fumagalli from Wisconsin. He is 6'4", 6'5", 255 pounds. And just like Gesicki, he's an all-around tight end. He's not very fast, but he finds a way to get open. And out of all of these tight ends that I named, he's the best route runner. The guy he just finds a way to do what he needs to do. The biggest question about him is honestly, he has 9 fingers. On his dominant hand, I believe, he has 4 fingers. So people are going to wonder, like, can he still catch the ball? Let me just say this. I don't care if you have 9, 8, 7, 6. It don't matter. If you can play, you can play. I watch a guy, Shaquem Griffin from UCF, and I saw him at the combine. Congratulations to that dude and what he did. But if you look at the tape, that dude is the real deal. There's no way he is the real deal. He can play. And when I look at Fumagalli, it's the same thing. I don't care if they had to amputate his finger. I don't care if they had to amputate his toe. This dude can ball out. Whoever gets this guy, first of all, I'm going to just say this. He's the only guy on this list that won't bust. Whoever gets this guy is getting a very solid tight end, a guy that can help you move the chains. You will get a really good player from Troy Fumagalli. But anyway, that's the last name on my list. Please, people, if you like this video, subscribe to see more videos I'm going to put out there and to see the future videos I'm going to put out there. If you didn't like what I had to say about a player, or if you think that I should have named another player, please comment. Share this video so other people can comment and we can have a debate about what I've talked about in this video and in other videos and future videos. And please hit that like button. I thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy this journey as much as I will. Goodbye.